Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into my RC Retro channel. So what you see here in this tub of pieces is an actual Tamiya Falcon. In this episode we're going to be restoring it, doing a body, a TBG body, and some MCI decals, and then showing off its first run. So it was rather easy to get one on eBay. I found this one for $65, that included shipping. It did not come like this, it came all together. I actually took it apart. This was probably the dirtiest RC I bought online. And I just really quickly want to show you. This is the part of the motor that was encased in the gearbox. That's really dirty. Looks like a mixture of grease and sand. So I'm so looking forward to opening up this thing and seeing what is going on inside there. All right, you ready for this?
The nostalgia-inducing sounds of 90s alternative and grunge. Adolescent angst.
This is how dirty this thing is, watch.
Not included.
It's like sludge in there. So for anybody that's into restoring RC cars, I would definitely recommend getting one of these ultrasonic jewelry cleaners. It's so easy, just fill some water, put a little liquid soap in there, and just hit the timer for how long you want it, and within about 2 to 3 minutes your pieces are clean. The shocks are all cleaned up, and although they don't look brand new, they look a heck of a lot better than they did before when I first got the Falcon. Steps 1 through 10 of the Falcon rebuild are done. Servos are fitted. The mechanical speed control cleaned up really nicely. I like to use Brasso and a Q-tip and a little polish, and it looks brand new. So I'm putting together the front end, and I see what everyone is talking about online when I was reading about the Falcon and the shock mounts being super fragile. Most people were saying that this is typically the first thing to go in the car and snap off, and I could totally see why, as when I'm squeezing to put the screws in here to hold it, I could just feel how brittle this is just applying pressure with the screwdriver. So hopefully that won't happen to mine. I'm not really gonna bash it. I'm just gonna race it around the street for a little bit after I restore it and then put it on the shelf. The Falcon actually cost me $65 with shipping off of eBay. This brand new bumper cost me $25. That's almost half the price to get the complete car. The front end is together, the bumper is on, looking good. Now on to the gearbox. Just so you have an idea, that's the grease that I wiped out of the gearbox. For all my other Tamiya restorations, I've been using their ceramic grease and I finally ran out. So I went over to my local hobby shop and asked them, which they don't carry. So the gentleman over there told me to try the Traxxas marine grease, and he said it's really, really good, so I'm giving it a shot. No, that's not strawberry jelly on my gears. That is marine grease. So I know this happened earlier, I never said anything, but when I was taking the car apart, you could see right there as I'm zooming in where the 12mm screw goes into to mount the yellow cage around the gearbox. That plastic piece cracked. And that's just because this plastic is so brittle because of its age. So when I got the Falcon, I noticed it came with the right tires, just not the right wheels. So I went online to eBay and I found a set. It was rather expensive, but I'm not going to complain because they're brand new. Interestingly enough, the car did come with bearings for the front tires. However, in the rear, there's plastic. I just took the rear tire off to clean it, and I guess the person who originally owned this car was a big beach goer, because look at all the sand and dirt that just came out of the back of this tire. So I did a little research on YouTube and found some simple ways how to clean a motor. And it kind of brought me back to the days of when I was in elementary school, where you connected the wires to a circuit and a battery to make a light bulb shine. And basically, I just connected this motor to a battery, and while holding it as it ran, put it into the water, and it basically shot out all the dirt from the motor into the water. And then from there, I took some Duratrex Power Shot and cleaned out the inside of the motor and gave it a nice wipe down on the outside. And can't say that it looks like it's in new condition, but it's pretty damn clean. Fit perfect, nice and shiny, and again all the way from Japan, and so are these. My rear tires. This Falcon really looks amazing compared to what it looked like when I first got it. So early on in my video, I said I was going to use a TBG body, and that stands for Team Blue Groove. It's very good quality. I've used it on a few of my cars, one of which is right here by Hilux Monster Racer, which I think came out awesome. So when it comes to cutting out a Lexan body, some people like to use hobby scissors such as these by Duratrex to cut out Lexan. I personally like to use just a plain old hobby knife. The hobby knife, I like to use the score and snap method. That's basically you just run the hobby knife over the area you want to cut, creating a score and snap. It literally just peels off. So after cutting out a body, I like to take a piece of sandpaper, somewhere along the lines of 220 grit, just to go over the edges to smooth it out, even it out, or get rid of any little jagged pieces. And the reason why I'm using something like 220 from Home Depot and not something hobby grade is because the hobby grade is more fine, used to just scuff up or even buff out paint to get rid of something like orange peel. But for this, I'm trying to even out or round edges, so I need something a little bit heavier, and I felt from prior uses it works just fine. Body's all masked for the red portion, which you can see the one I originally got wasn't painted. It was just all black, the entire body, and the stickers were red. But I'm going for total box art. And you probably hear in the background my daughter singing, so hey, there you go. But I like to use a little bit of everything. Tamiya masking tape, curve tape, window mask, and even blue painter's tape. Rule of thumb when painting is that everyone will tell you to start with the darkest color and then go to the lightest color. However, I went with red, and obviously red is lighter than black. However, I'm going to back it with white. Once it gets backed with white, I put the black on and I'll have no issues. The last coat of spray just went on, so now it's time to remove the protective film. I applied most of the decals and I really like the way it looks. I'm a minimalist, so I did not put everything on there. I felt like with all the sponsor decals, it just looked a little too busy for me. So this is how I might just leave it. And I gotta do the headlights, which are on the original, which I'm gonna use, just repaint them and put them on here. Here are the fog lights for the Falcon. I do have it masked. It was already painted black. Just gonna give it a little spray of white to clean it up. Here's the other one, so you can see it a little bit better. Probably 2 or 3 coats of white will be good. These came out great. I'm super happy. As for the driver, not so much. I was thinking about doing something a little different, going with yellow and blue to make it stand out. And I'm not crazy about the way it came out, so I'm gonna rethink this and hold off for right now. As for this, I'm gonna get this on the chassis, take a couple nice pictures, and then take it for a spin. So this is what it's come down to. Super glue. I'm gonna super glue this back together and mount this arm back to the car. And I'm a little upset because just as I said earlier on in the video, the plastic on this Falcon is so brittle that just from me rebuilding it and tightening screws, things have snapped off. So this rear arm is super glued and it seems to be holding up. I'm not gonna go crazy with compressing the shock, but it does the trick. This is the hinge pin on the other side of the car that keeps the arm connected to the chassis. And you could see that it's cracked in, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 different places. It hasn't quite come off like the other side, but it's there. The moment this thing hits the ground and a little throttle is given with some force, I can't see that holding up. I'm using a screwdriver just to point out the rear dog bone. Historically, this has been an issue for many people. I'm reading online forums and everyone says it pops out, and it does. It has for me, whether it is on the ground or being bench tested. This really wasn't the way I wanted to conclude my Falcon restoration project. I really wanted to give it one nice run just so I can capture it in action. But that's gonna have to hold off until either someone 3D prints them or I could find nice replacement parts for the rear arms. But between the dog bones popping out in the back, the cracked arm, and some of the screw holes in the gearbox where the yellow cage goes around the motor, those cracked off as well. So the motor cage is being held on by one screw on each side. It's for all these issues that my Falcon restoration project is going to come to an end. My intention was to take it for a run and then shelf it, but it looks like it's just going to be shelved. I need to find some replacement parts, and when I do, I'll make another video. So thanks for tuning into the RC Retro channel, and I want to apologize one more time for not being able to run this. I just don't want to damage it any further. So I'm just going to leave you with some pictures of my Falcon. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.